A few weeks ago, the Boston Celtics looked like they had won the entire offseason and appeared primed to run back another finals appearance. How quickly things change. Just a few weeks later, Danilo Gallinari suffered a serious injury and may miss the entire season. At the very least, he will miss most of it. Robert Williams is going to miss 8 to 12 weeks at the start of the year with his own injury. And now, Coach Ime Udoka, who many people believed was in the running to win Coach of the Year next season, has had some kind of whack allegations against him. Not whack as in, I'm saying they're untrue, but whack as in, what a weird thing to be accused of and then punished for. He had consensual sexual relations with someone else on the Boston Celtics staff. The punishment he received suggests it was Brad Stevens' wife, but we don't know for sure. And now he is going to be suspended for the entire season, most likely not returning as the coach. So some random assistant coach is instead going to step up and have to coach this team that entered last season a bit struggling, but caught its footing, alright, got it together, and was a well-oiled machine going into the playoffs. Will they be able to continue what they were doing last year with a different coach? I'm not sure, and I'm not sure is a good way to talk about anything with the Celtics right now, because this team looked absolutely stacked. Less than a month ago, you could make a very strong argument that they were the title favorites. And while the Celtics are certainly still very good, they're still legitimate contenders, this puts a lot of questions on a team that already had a couple of cracks that may have been showing, specifically with the Jaylen Brown situation. There were all the rumors about trading him for Kevin Durant. Obviously, it didn't happen. And it was just kind of something that, okay, you risked Jaylen Brown's happiness to potentially get Kevin Durant. I think that is a fair risk versus reward scenario. If you can get KD, you'll risk upsetting your all-star caliber player. It just happens. Kevin Durant is a superstar, Jaylen Brown's an all-star. You do what you gotta do. But we don't know how things are going to be with him going into the season. He may be upset. Maybe he completely got over it. He understands NBA is a business, blah, blah, blah. But I think he would have reason to be mad about that after being the Celtics' best player in the NBA Finals. So they were potentially going to trade him. Now they've got a new coach. We're going to see if he can continue running the same system. We're going to see if he has the same level of respect and commitment from the players. We're going to see what the locker room is like with the whole Ime Udoka situation, because who knows what the players actually think of it. We don't have any details, and the fact that the Celtics are trying to cover it up is also a bit concerning, because you would think if it was just you would think that if it was something that wasn't that big of a deal, which is what it sounds like, because on paper it's like, okay, he had consensual relations with someone. That's not he's a terrible husband, he's a terrible partner, but as a coach for an NBA team, not exactly that high on the list of crimes. NBA players are not exactly known for their loyalty to their spouses. So you wouldn't think this would be seen as such a big deal, but the fact that they're suspending him for a season over it means there's definitely something more going on behind the scenes. There was some kind of drama. Apparently they were investigating him for months leading up to this decision. There were legal teams involved and all kinds of stuff. So there could be potentially more stuff going on, maybe not in the locker room, but in the front office and in the staff, that could cause some more issues throughout the season, and then missing Robert Williams at the start of the year. The Boston Celtics were kind of prided on their defense last year. That was their whole thing, especially later in the year. And Robert Williams was their best defender. Don't let Marcus Smart and his phony Defensive Player of the Year fool you. Robert Williams was the best defensive player on the Boston Celtics, and now they're going to be missing him going into the start of this season, so they're going to be really dependent on Al Horford to continue to hold off his age and play center and be a full-time rim protector, a full-time starting center at age, is he 35, 36 now? Dude's really getting up there. He had a phenomenal throwback season last year, but, unless your name is LeBron James, I'm not going to have confidence in you at age 35 maintaining your production until I actually see it. So There are just a lot of potential issues that could grow with this Boston Celtics team, and I'm very interested to see what happens. I don't want to sound completely negative here, because there's absolutely a world where the Boston Celtics' new coach implements Udoka's system, no problem. The team holds off just fine until Williams gets back. They don't need Gallo, because they were contenders last year without him anyway. Malcolm Brogdon is just a perfect fit, and they go out, they win 60 games, they're like the first or second seed in the East, and they go right back to the NBA Finals after a tough series with the Bucks or the Sixers. But I think there's also a world where teams are fickle. Championship runs tend to come and go out of nowhere, and maybe we're going to look back in a few years and be like, oh crap, the Boston Celtics blew their chance to win a finals. Like, they lost in the finals in 2022, and they never made it back because the Bucks just, they got Chris Middleton back. The Celtics weren't able to beat them. They had some weird stuff going on behind the scenes with both the front office and the locker room. There were some tensions, and they just weren't able to put together the same kind of crazy season that they did last year. I don't know. It's interesting to think about, and I'm very excited to see how this team performs in the regular season. Definitely going to be a more interesting team to watch than they seem. They're obviously going to be entertaining because they're going to be really good, but more stuff to look at with the Boston Celtics than it seemed a few weeks ago. They looked like the model of perfection very recently, and now there's a whole lot of potential problems going on.